Welcome back to MKE Gadgets. Today we're going to talk about cafeteria trays and some of the uses in the workshop. On my shelving unit here I have various jars full of different hardware. When I'm working on a project, I dump the jar out and I sort through it looking for certain size hardware, size, diameter, and then I return everything back to the jar and back to the shelf. Let's go to the workbench and see how a cafeteria tray plays a role in this. So here's my 5/16 stainless steel hardware. If there's a certain piece of hardware I need out of here, what I'll do is pour it into the tray, sort through it, and then return the unused hardware back in the jar. And the jar goes back in the shelf. Now I bought this kind of flat funnel for hardware from Northern Tool quite a few years ago, and I went back there and tried to get some more for some Christmas gifts, and they didn't have any, nor did they know what I was talking about. So I thought, well, what can I make that's easily modified and I can make some gifts for some friends? So I wanted something that's plastic so it doesn't rust, easy to cut, and I come up with cafeteria trays. Now this one I've had a long time. I don't know where I got it at, but I went to the local restaurant supply store and I bought a bunch of cafeteria trays in different colors. This one, I just chopped a corner off on my miter saw to act like the funnel. So when I pour the hardware out, it's flat enough, it's easy to sort through, and when I want to return the hardware back to the jar, the cut portion acts like a funnel. Now you can get these at a restaurant supply store for $2.50 or $3.50 a piece. I bought them in different colors and I use them in different areas of the shop. So this is how I sort my hardware out. Also, what I have used are frisbees. You get a free frisbee from the bank or from some promotion, and I'll sort my hardware out in that, but it doesn't have the funnel effect, which is what I'm really after. And then Mother uses these clean supplies, and they have a damp rag in there, and you put it on the end of a mop. I just use these sometimes too. You can put hardware in there or projects in there until you get around to working on them. These are free. If they get broken, you just recycle them. Let's go to the lathe and I'll show you how I use the trays there. Another great use for the cafeteria trays are to place them in your lathe down in the chip pan. When you're done with your project, you can just brush the chips right down into the tray. You can remove it and then dispose of your chips. Nice thing about this is how clean it keeps your tray. I got two of them in here side by side. It really makes cleanup on the lathe a lot easier. Now these trays are dishwasher safe, so you can put them in a dishwasher, but you won't want to do that after you had chips in them. But you can take them to a part washer, you can take them to a garden hose, you can brush them and you can wipe them down. Place them back in there till your next job. Just like the lathe, you can place the trays next to your vise on your mill. When you're done milling, you can remove the trays, dump all your chips off. It saves a lot of time from vacuuming all the chips out of your T-slots. Well, I just showed you a couple of uses for the universal cafeteria tray. And you might not have jars of hardware or a milling machine or a lathe that collects chips, but these trays have a lot of other uses. If you make bead making, stamp collecting, jewelry making, anything where you have small parts and you don't want them to roll on the floor, or if you work on projects, electronics, and you have a lot of small parts and you want to stop for the day and put the parts in a safe spot where they won't roll around. You can put trays on the shelf that keep them away from pets and kids. So that's just a couple uses. I'm sure there's a lot more. If you come up with other uses, please put them in the comments. As always, this is MKE Gadgets. Thanks for viewing, and please subscribe.